Hey guys, just outside getting some vitamin D. Incredibly beautiful day today. A lot of stuff's been happening, obviously, in the world, but personally too, and really good things. And for us, our family's done very well in the COVID. I feel bad for the people that haven't. I feel bad for the people that lost their jobs and businesses because of it. I think it's a giant scam, and the COVID, virus was. They just had that lady that worked for the lab out in China, and she came out as a whistleblower saying that the whole thing was, created in a lab and it was released on purpose by the communists. It's an attack on the United States. I mean, no question about it. I mean, it went worldwide, but it was specifically an attack on democracy and freedom-loving countries. And it didn't play out like they wanted it to. I believe, and I've said this before, but I believe Hillary Clinton was supposed to win, and but she didn't because Trump had already won. The white hats, the good forces, had already won, or she never would have lost. So there's been basically a battle going on for a long time, and we haven't even known it. And these evildoers got overthrown. Basically, they got kicked out, and this is a wake up away. This prolonged exposure really is what it is. But we're really actually very safe and very protected. And I think if we weren't, it would have been some cataclysmic event that would have happened by now. Something nuclear, or man-made disaster of some kind. And that's not happened because I do believe we're being protected. Anyway, just a lot of stuff going on. I mean, I've been having my personal spiritual journey, and it's going well. I've been doing really well with my job. It's been really good year for me at my job. I've gotten a lot of accolade and hit my 20-year mark. So I was 12 years at my other hospital, and then 8 years at this hospital, all in the same system. So that's kind of a neat milestone to hit. 20 years went by fast, I'll tell you. And I feel blessed that I get to do the work I do. Getting to serve people, and getting to work in the NICU, the neonatal, has been really a blessing for me. It's given me a lot of purpose and motivation to be the best I can be at my job, and that's a blessing. And a lot of people get burned out. I've gone through periods of burnout, but I really am thankful. I'm really thankful. It's been humbling. It's been educational. It's been opportunity to serve. I've gotten to see, my good points, my bad points. I've gotten to work on my personality, and the heartfulness has helped me a lot. It's helping me open up. I think what happened to me is I had just, being raised in this 3D environment. I mean, I didn't have a traumatic childhood. I'm not blaming anything in specific, but just going to school, just dealing with bullying, and just the whole thing is just it's so aggressive, and so it's just I don't even know how to explain it. You all know what I mean. Everybody went to school, right? I mean, it's an indoctrination, it's intimidation, it's control, and then dysfunction at home, and your parents are working through trauma and passing that on, and it's just a mess, right? So it takes us time to unwind all those things, and honest to God, until I started doing the heartfulness, I really feel like I was really failing miserable at that. I wasn't unwinding things. It just was like I was wound up, and just adding to it, actually. Even though I was trying to do a spiritual path, I was trying to do meditation, and I thought that that was really helping me, but it wasn't. I knew it wasn't, and it just was something I did out of habit almost, and I just felt no sense of purpose. And Heartfulness has done so many things for me, and the main thing it did initially was I had a pretty amazing experience with it, but that wasn't the main thing. The experience I had was really validating in a lot of ways, but the main thing I got was the realization that I was exactly where I needed to be in my life, and my life was exactly what I needed for my growth. It was like it was personally designed for me, and I mean, it was like a gift, like a precious jewel. If someone designed a precious gemstone just for you, and everything about it was just special and unique. And that's what our lives are, and they're given from God in whatever you want to call. I mean, there are force, divine energies, entities, individuals, whatever you want to call them, that are helping us design our life so that we can have the most growth. And that was the biggest realization I had, and it helped me with every aspect, because nobody's got a perfect life. Everybody's got their struggles, and being married, raising a family, working, doing all these things, it's very hard. And you can see the divorce rates off the charts. People are stressed, people are in financial problems, having all kinds of stress issues. And it's like an epidemic, really. And chasing happiness, chasing it with material things or chemical things or whatever. And so that was, for me, the most settling thing, was that realization. It was a gift of, like, I've not been given any gift like that. And it just happened in an instant, like a blink of an eye. Like, it just had that realization. And it's just lots of things like that with this path that I started on. And there's the naysayers, people saying you won't get there doing that, or it's really interesting, because every time I've started a path, anytime I've done anything in my life, there's always been the naysayers, and I don't quite understand. I know they serve a role. I think they actually help ground us. They give us grounding. Before I went to MIU, Maharishi International University, I went there and worked on staff. And I worked for a program called the Cities program. It's like advanced meditation techniques, but the Cities are very expensive. I mean, they were charging at the time, I think, like $10,000 for the Cities. The TM movement's all about the money, and that maybe not all about the money. I shouldn't be so harsh, but they definitely charge a lot, and in retrospect, I don't think that that's right. But anyway, before I went to MIU, because I went there after I got out of the military, I got a lot of, I had people telling me, oh, this is, you're making a mistake. This isn't the right thing to do. And this meditation is bad, and blah, blah, blah. And it turned out that they were kind of right in a way, but it was an experience I needed to have. So they were actually wrong. But on the other hand, it was like they were doing me a favor, because they were kind of tempering that reality. And I think that the naysayers and stuff actually help us in a way. They help ground us, because you can get caught up in things and become real airy-fairy and lose sight of reality, especially if you're in an echo chamber. So the same thing happened with Heartfulness. I had detractors, people saying that this wasn't going to get me there, whatever there is, and it shook me up a little bit. It made me question things. It made me hold back a little bit, because I wanted, after I had that real big experience, your tendency is to just, you want to just dive in 100%, but then you get these detractors that are saying things and kind of throwing out, the chaff, and making you question your own beliefs and your own experience. Really, it's not even about beliefs, but making you question your own experience. and that's necessary. That's a necessary part of, when you build something, when you prepare like the foundation for something, that's a big job. You have to, crush the rock and pour the concrete and do lots of measuring and because if the foundation is not right, nothing's going to be right after that. And I think that, our spiritual path is much about building a foundation. So it looks kind of ugly, like it takes a while too, and it doesn't seem like you're making progress. If anybody's ever watched a building be built, the biggest project is to build the foundation. I mean, they're spending a lot of time doing the foundation. I watched them build one of the towers when I worked at downtown. They were building a tower next to the ICU where I worked. And so I would look out the window and watch them down there. And man, you should have seen the foundation for this building. It was a project in and of itself. I mean, it was incredible. And they spent a tremendous amount of time on it. And because that's the way it has to be. You got to have a really strong foundation. Well, on a spiritual level, I believe that these detractors, these people that are actually trying to hold us back, in a way are doing us a favor by helping us. They're helping us crush the granite and pour the concrete and really get us firm, stable. We're looking at a 360 view, where you're really seeing things from a lot of different angles and questioning things, because we should be questioning things. The same thing happened to me when I did when I started doing carnivore. I mean, I didn't do it intentionally. I started doing like keto, low carb, because I had heard that it decreases inflammation. And so I started down that path. And of course I got a lot of, detractors from that. I got, told that I wasn't going to get better eating like that. And, once I went full carnivore, I mean, people can't understand that. It doesn't register in their brain. They've been told that meat is bad and saturated fats are bad and all that. And so, even though they were telling me this stuff, it made me turn inward, and really turn inward and pray to God and ask for guidance. And I believe God guided me most definitely, and still guiding me, and even more now. And it's interesting because of my journey, I've been able to talk to a lot of people about, diet and inflammation and different diseases that are most diseases caused by the inflammation, honestly. And a low carb diet, you don't have to call it carnivore, but low carb, keto. Sometimes keto's good if you don't have a lot of inflammation going on. Keto's okay, but low carb is really the answer. And a lot of people don't know that, and they're being told crazy stuff that, they've got people with nutrition degrees that are, telling, diabetics to eat oatmeal for breakfast. I mean, it's totally insane, right? I mean, if you're diabetic, you should never eat oatmeal ever. You should never eat any processed carbohydrate again. You should just be eating meat and eggs and fat. And all that diabetic stuff will go away. I mean, I see it at the hospital. I had a patient, and they checked her blood sugar when I was in there getting ready to do her breathing treatment, and her blood sugar was over 400. And this lady had just eaten breakfast like an hour or an hour and a half before. So the breakfast that they served a diabetic patient caused her blood sugar to spike up to over 400. Now, that's negligence. I mean, that's like giving... somebody a loaded gun, and tell them it's a toy. I mean, they're feeding these people, they're feeding their disease. And so, I mean, this lady had to get a whole bunch of insulin, and it's just the way it is, and most people are not even thinking to question the authority, the people that are supposed to know everything. They're not even thinking to question their doctor or their nutritionist. I mean, my God, these people have advanced degrees. How could they not know? And it's just an epidemic because of that. We have an epidemic of ignorance, and sometimes you got to get off the grid. You got to go off. David Icke, the researcher and guy that. He's really spilled the beans on a lot of things. He would say it's called postage postage stamp consciousness. So you got to get off the postage stamp. Sometimes you got to get out in the weeds a little bit to find out what's going on. And we're seeing that right now in our society. I mean, if you follow mainstream media, you'll believe one thing. And if you get off into the weeds a little bit, you'll start finding out all kinds of information that, they really don't want us to know. They're trying to keep it off the internet. They're trying to scrub things from the internet. Even watching, when I used to watch Paul in Pockets of the Future, he talked about it a lot. And there was a lot of people being attacked at that time. And I remember the first time I told my wife about it, this is kind of before she woke up. She's kind of woke up a lot the last year and a half to what's going on. But she didn't believe it. She did not believe that was happening. She didn't believe that the channels and different content was being basically removed from the internet. And so a lot has happened just in the awareness that that's even a thing. So anyway, I was going to tell you all about my healing on my gut. It's really, really healed up. I got a colonoscopy. It was clear. He even biopsied areas. They were clear. I had a couple polyps, or one polyp, I don't know, which really had nothing. That's just kind of a hereditary thing. But really, really healthy. And all I've eaten is meat and fat. Well, for 6 months before my colonoscopy. Now I'm eating more carbs and stuff. I'm trying to gain back a little bit of my muscle and my weight that I lost. But I'm going very slow and going very easy with it. And but it's been pretty enlightening. I mean, I've never really had an experience where I've learned more. So it's kind of interesting how, when we get put in these, what we would consider to be the most horrible thing we could ever have happen to us, it actually turns out to be the most enlightening thing. And like I said, I've helped a lot of people in terms of just spreading education to, people who have family members that have, illnesses and gut problems. And I've been able to talk to people about, just considering, a different approach. Yeah, something the doctors aren't telling them, And so I don't advocate anything. Everyone's got to do their own research. I'm not telling people, oh, you should be doing this, because I don't believe that that's the case. I think that it's different for everyone. I mean, at some point in your life, you might need more carbs. And another part in your life, you might not need any carbs. It's just completely, my dad, he's on zero carb. He has a different physique, a different physiology. He's always held on to weight and been a little bit overweight. So for him, zero carb is the way to go. He feels great. For me, I'm thinner build, and I don't feel good. I don't have as much energy if I don't have some carbs. So everyone's got to find their balancing point. And I just see so many people, and even in the keto and carb-free community, that just get so militant about stuff. You can't eat anything that has carbs. You can't have a piece of cake. They're just like militant about stuff. I try to get those people off of my timeline, because they're really they're missing the point. It's about health. It's about balance. It's about what is balance for me might not be balance for you, and that has to be understood. Everybody needs to understand that. And it's the same on the spiritual level. It's just what might be really spiritually advancing for me might not be for you. That's why I never push the heartfulness stuff on people either. I will tell people about it sometimes, but it's not in a way where I'm saying, oh, you need to do this. I could care less if people do it. I think if you were meant to do something, it will come to you in a way that you weren't expecting. And heartfulness came to me in that way. I was not expecting to learn another meditation. I had an intuition many, many years ago that I would find something through an American man, and I would find something that would be the thing that would take me to the end. And heartfulness is it. When I learned heartfulness, I remembered that I had gotten that intuition years and years ago. I had an intuition about Hawaii when I was young. When I was a kid, I knew something important about Hawaii was going to happen to me. and my wife is from Hawaii. And so I think that, we're led to these things. We get these intuitions as confirmation, so we can look back on it and go, okay, yeah, I got that confirmation in spite of the naysayers. So it's just, I think we're being given a lot of gifts, a lot of opportunities. We have to look at these, the vicissitudes of life as actually, they could be offering us great opportunity. I actually think they are, actually. People see it as, oh, it's just so bad, it's so bad. I mean, when you lose your health, it sucks. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that's a real growth experience, but it can be, it can be a growth experience. And you can learn and you can take knowledge with you, because really that's what we're here for, I believe, is to learn and grow and expand and, take our ability to love to a higher level wherever we're at, and that's what I really believe we're here for. But, the Sahaj Marg prayer says the goal of life is, God. I mean, thou art the true goal of human life. Source, connecting to source, and that's everything. So it's something to contemplate. What does that even mean? I mean, there's a lot to the prayer. You could spend your whole, it changes, right? The prayer changes as you become more conscious. It becomes more involved and more deep, and starts to mean things in different ways. It's like when you read something and then you come back and reread it, later, and you're like, oh my God, this is so profound. I can't believe I didn't see that. And then you might read it again in another 5 years and go, oh my God, that's so profound. I didn't see that. And you could, I believe that true knowledge just keeps rolling to a higher level. It keeps unfolding at the level of consciousness that we're at. It is relevant, and then it's relevant again at a higher level, and then at a higher level, and at a higher level. There's this guy I follow. He's an Indian, and he's like a archaeology guy. He looks at a lot of these temples and things like that in India, the Hindu temples, and they'll have like carvings on these rocks, and if you look at the carving a different way, it has different meanings. It's just totally amazing. Like, these people were totally advanced beyond belief, and they were able to take an image on a piece of stone and make it into all these different, if you cover up part of it here, it looks like this, and you cover up part of it here, it looks like that. And different people will actually see different things based on their level of consciousness. So it's kind of amazing that they were totally aware of that one image or one thing means different things at different levels of consciousness. And so this is something to consider. Anyway, it was good talking to you. I hope you all have a good day.